Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Leader in You podcast. We're so excited to be here. My name is Paulina, and this is the lovely.
I'm Dr. Lola Gershfeld.
We are excited to be back for day 2 recap of what happened at the ATD conference today. For those of you who are unfamiliar, ATD stands for Association of Talent and Development, and we are here talking about the importance of emotional connection in the workplace, how we can keep the emotions in instead of getting them out and leaving them at the door. So today we had a very exciting day, much more exciting than yesterday.
Yes, definitely.
Even though we struggled a little to sleep last night, we had a party at 2 in the morning, which was very fun. Like a different kind of party that you could imagine. There was no illegal substances involved or alcohol or anything.
But we talked about our emotions.
That's the party we had. The party where we discussed what happened and processed some of the issues that came up yesterday for our experience. And we just had today was such an incredible day. And we had an amazing time just hearing from different speakers, talking, connecting with people. And we want to share some of the key takeaways from today's conference.
Yeah, the day started with Simone Biles being the guest speaker at the conference, the keynote speaker. And she was interviewed and she really shared about her life. And what I really took away from her talk is number one is that she was talking about how important it is to have a supportive team. How at the time when she went to Tokyo for Olympics and it was during COVID time, she decided not to participate because she did not feel like her mind and her body was in sync. And she said that it was a really difficult decision for her to make. But when she called her mom and says she's going to withdraw from the Olympics, her mom's, without any question, she said, if you don't feel good, don't do it. And I'll support you 100%. She didn't try to convince her. She didn't try to change her mind. She didn't try to talk her out of it. She just was completely full supported. And Simone really felt loved at that moment and accepted for who she is. And I thought that was really good. It felt to me the same way as yesterday when I got mixed up with the rooms. My family was so supportive. And I really felt that the reason I believed that nobody came to my room is because I had this belief that maybe people, not interested
Doubt,
to what,
your belief and doubt in yourself.
Right, that maybe not people not interested to hear what I have to say, not knowing that there are 53 people waiting in another room for me and to want to know what I have to say. So that was a really amazing lesson for me. And as I was listening to Simone talking about her ability to make the decisions and to believe and to listen to herself, that really made an impact for me. The second thing she said that I thought was very important is to make therapy as a normal, accepted behavior. She said, therapy is like skincare. I thought that was very interesting.
Or like working out at the gym.
Yeah, working out the gym, exactly.
You're training a muscle.
You're training an emotional muscle and your relationship muscles. So she said that it really helped her to feel more confident, more competent, and to understand what's happening for her emotionally. She started to feel so valued through her good relationships that she said at some point, getting gold medals was not as important as to have relationships.
It's so interesting. It's like hearing when people say like, oh, you can have all the money in the world, but when you don't have the connected relationships, then it makes things like not really worth it. There's no purpose.
Exactly. No purpose. Exactly. Then what do we do after?
What did we do after? Well, we talked to some really amazing clients and companies, and we connected with just really great people that want to bring this process into the workplace. And then
we were on a podcast.
Yeah, that's right. We did do that podcast.
Yeah, we were guest speakers. The podcast called Leadership Launchpad, hosted by Leadership Launchpad by Matt Gjersten.
Yeah. Matt, if you're watching this, we did not practice saying your last name enough times. But yeah, we had a really good time. So his background is in engineering.
He worked
He
at
works
SpaceX. He
and
worked at
at
SpaceX.
SpaceX, and he works with a lot of engineers. But he's bringing this kind of system, like bringing emotions into the workplace for engineers. And so we shared the importance of the process and also how to find, uh, I want to say red flags, but how to find like what are the signs to look for when you're in a company to see like if the team is disconnected, is there emotional unsafety in the workplace? Like what are those signs that we look for? So we went over that podcast, which was really awesome. And it's interesting because even as we talk about the importance of emotions in the workplace, we're so familiar with the language and the process. We also recognize and realize a lot of people are just so unfamiliar with a disconnected culture. They just think it's normal. And so they normalize that disconnected culture. Actually, I was talking with a lady at the booth today, and she said, "Oh, I don't need the process because I work remote." And then I said, "Oh, really? Okay. Well, tell me, how is it like, working with the team? Do you have a team that you work with?" And the more I dove into understanding, she actually said, "I'm actually very disconnected from my entire team. I have not like," because she didn't realize she said disconnected until she said it. And then I said to her, "Oh, so how does it feel to be disconnected in the team?" And she like was caught a bit off guard because she didn't realize she said like I'm disconnected because like I work from remote. But the point is you can be connected in a remote job.
Absolutely.
You can be connected in any job. And the she didn't even see it that way. And she was like, "Oh, I didn't even think that that was possible. I didn't even notice that I was disconnected. But now that you say it in that way, yeah, I am disconnected." So it was quite funny. She grabbed the information to send it off to the HR department. And in the entire conversation, by the end, realized how disconnected she truly is from the team.
Yeah.
And so this is interesting that we see the number one sign. This is what we talked about in the podcast is, do you wake up in the morning and think, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to go to work. I just love work so much. I'm just so excited to see the people and work with the people and develop this new product or develop this new service or, build the company or work on marketing and sales, whatever it is whatever your job position is." Do you say that? Or do you say like, "Oh, I got another day at work. Like, can't wait till it's Friday. Just 1 week. You just got to make it through. Got to drink some more coffee. Got to get whatever you need to keep you motivated for a very short period of time." There's the signs right there. So which one do you pick? And I actually mentioned that to her, and she was like, "Oh," like she just thought that the workplace, you're disconnected. That's just how it is.
And
So
it's a good point. It's a good point, Paulina, what you're talking about, because negative cycles and when you get disconnected and you guys get into that pattern of being disconnected are very sneaky. They're very sneaky. They come very slow. And first you like disconnect on a little thing, and then because you're using these guards and protective behaviors, you'll become more and more disconnected and isolated and alienated. And then and you don't really pay attention that slowly your motivation kind of like dies down, your
and gets
interest.
progressively worse.
Yeah, your interest is like to think about the product or the company gets lessened. And then you start to feel detached from the company that you're working with. And you say, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not even feeling excited that I used to be? So those are the signs to look out for and recognize that if you're feeling that way, you are in a negative cycle and you can actually change and restructure your cycle. You don't have to be stuck. You don't have to change the environment. Like you don't have to change the place of your employment. You can actually restructure your cycle and create that motivation again in that same place.
I think also if people are doing a job they don't necessarily enjoy, you can still stay with that job and have a positive experience, even if
Well,
you
you
don't
start
necessarily
enjoying
enjoy it.
it because you will start to enjoy
Well, I
because you
mean,
start to feel
you even if you
appreciated.
feel valued, but let's say you're doing work that it's not like your childhood dream, right? Like
Okay.
you're doing
Yeah.
your dream, and it makes it even more difficult when it's an environment that's not thriving. And actually with the process, you can learn about yourself to get that skills and strength in order to go after something that you really feel like you have a dream about,
Yeah, sometimes you don't know what you love.
Yeah,
Exactly. So once you have the tools and opportunity and a roadmap to learn about yourself, to really tune into that emotional sense of being, you start to be yourself. You start to pay attention to those things. Oh, my goodness, I have other talents that I can use. And then you can really discover. We talked about when you're emotionally connected, you become flexible. You become open, right? In a podcast. When you are emotionally disconnected, you're a lot more rigid. It's very difficult for you to be open to new experiences, new decisions, new ideas. So feeling connected and being connected, that's a huge opportunity for people.
Yeah, so we talked about that in the podcast, and then finally you attended the
Yes,
talk by
we had more
Blanchard.
conversation, obviously, at the booth. But what we just ended the day with attending Scott Blanchard's talk on I Have Your Back. That's the name of his presentation at the ATD conference. And he talked about the importance of making employees feel valued, safe.
Same thing that we talked about.
And cared for.
Yeah, except he doesn't have like a process.
No.
I think that's where we are so unique in what we do, is that we have a set process.
Exactly, how to actually do that. Because I came to him and I said, I really enjoyed your presentation. It was great. And we have the same type of visions for people, for people to feel valued, for people to feel cared for people to feel safe. Well, it's not only for employees, it's also for managers. You need to feel that both ways. So we have a process how to actually do that. What he talked about is more cognitive, like employees and managers need to have that attitude to come to work and focus on making employees feel valued, or focus on making employees feel safe, or focus on making employees feel cared for. What we're talking about is, no, focus on the relationship.
Yeah.
If your relationship is secure and connected, you will feel valued and your people will feel valued. You will feel safe and your people will feel safe.
Well, so you were listening to him speak, and I think we just see this so often across the board in other companies that do really support emotional intelligence and learning the importance of our emotions. They are really good at educating, but not one company aside from EMC leaders actually has a process that implements it in a way where you have the theory, but then you also have the practical aspect of using that emotional intelligence to create those close connected relationships. And I think that's what we recognize today, is that the many people that we talked with said, like, you're the only company doing this. Like, yeah, a lot of people talk about it. It's like when someone says, go work on yourself. What does that mean? Do you have a manual? So it's like, oh, well, you need emotional intelligence in the workplace. Or what does that mean? Well, we have a manual.
Yeah, I remember Paulina reading Primal Leadership like 25 years ago. And I had this book on my desk and I was reading it. You know, you have to have self-awareness and you have to have social awareness and you have to have relationship awareness. But how do you do that? How do you get there? That was very, very confusing to me.
How many times I've talked with coaches who are like, oh, I coach people in, overcoming their blocks. I'm like, oh, okay, what's the process? I just like blank, like, oh, we talk about, belief system or changing the thoughts or, changing those behaviors. And none of that is possible or effective long-term unless you have a process that really works on the emotional aspect of those. Emotions drives us into action.
One of the research he mentioned, Scott Blanchard mentioned, was that when people don't feel safe, they think of their managers as stupid. because they
Yeah.
feel like there's no opportunity for, and the manager's not doing really well.
I think
And they said that the people, if they don't feel safe in the company, they start to talk about the company really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's in all relationships too,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
as soon as you feel disconnected in some way or not valued, what people complain, that is typically what they do. Like let's
Yeah.
say you, and then they blame. They
Yeah,
complain as a way of
exactly.
expressing themselves, and then they blame and judge and criticize.
Which makes sense.
Well, that's because that's all the tools that we learn from childhood. It's our society. It's what we, even Matt said this in the podcast, it's what we naturally tend to do is we do this shame blame cycle where we feel ashamed in order to not feel like we're the bad guy. We turn it into blame and turn it to the other person. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a lot of wonderful things, and we're really, really, really excited to be here. Tomorrow is day 3. It's our final day here at the ATD conference. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, we're gonna have an
we're gonna have
authors chat.
Yeah, and it's going to be recorded, and we'll be posting it
Yes.
on the YouTube channel so you can watch. And we are, what's the topic? 5 quick
wins
Quick wins.
to better manage your team conflict.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for listening. And we very much appreciate you. We are pioneering something really incredible. And we've also titled ourselves the world's only and best conflict resolution process.
Conflict solution process.
No,
conflict resolution process.
changing our branding in the middle of a conference.
But I think many people have come and said, wow, we have never seen anything like that. I went through the whole trade show and or through the whole conference, and I did not see anybody who talks about emotional connection, especially mastering relationship, the art of relationships.
Yeah.
So check out our website, emcleaders.com, and be sure to take our team emotional safety assessment.
Yeah, if you're part of the ATD conference and you came to visit us, we gave you a phone number. You can text to get the code to get a free assessment. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.